Hey there everyone, the spazziest of dragons here, and welcome to part 2 of my piracy tutorial. Funny thing, this is actually the 5th attempt to shoot this damn video. Like, seriously, it took me, what, 2 weeks? Actually, no, probably 3 weeks by now. But, well, hopefully this is going to be the, fifth time's the charm, right? Okay, so, why is this the 5th time? Let's just say that, remember in the first part I said that, setting up the ship is actually the easiest part, and it's the, the overall piracy itself, choosing the location, judging how much to pay, like, the interaction between lawfuls and unlawfuls, that is going to be the most complex side of piracy that needs a lot of explaining. I wasn't kidding. The first 2 attempts at shooting this tutorial was actually scrapped just because the video itself ended up to be about an hour and 20 minutes long. So this is the 5th attempt, and I have learned that the things that really need to be explained in depth, so for example, the ship of choice, the loadout of choice, that we covered in the first part, but things like choosing your location for the piracy attempt, tracking the overall updates, how to interact with lawfuls, how to interact with unlawfuls, those things need a lot of explaining, and those are going to be in separate videos. So in part 2, we are going to focus on the encounter itself. But there's another reason why there's 5 attempts of this thing, and let's just say that I tried to do this on the live server. And let's just say that trying to more or less explain every single choice of my actions while pirating someone is really hard. Because technically it meant that this poor person that I caught had to sit still for about 15 minutes while I tried to explain every single thing I did. And I shit you not, this one guy actually PM'd me in private and said, "Dude, are you still there? Like, can I go now? What's your demands?" Like, shush, I'm talking to the camera. Stay there. So yeah, for the sake of part 2, at least the first part of this video, we have currently moved to my own server, as you can see. And I'm going to use this server to overall simulate the encounter of the trader, show you exactly what we're going to do, and once I explain all of these things, we are then going to put them in practice on the main server. Alright, so as we head on to the New York jump gate, let me quickly explain what exactly we are going to do here. Alright, so as you can see, this is not the same ship that I chose last time. It is a Rock medium bomber, which is also a civilian ship, but you can use this easily with a pirate ID without getting any sort of nerf. And let me just quickly set up these weapon groups. Okay. So the thing about a medium bomber, when it comes to piracy at least, is that it's a very good support ship in the sense that it is agile enough so you can be, pretty good threat when it comes to, snubs. If you get caught by a snub, you can, more or less duel it out, and, if the guy is not skilled enough or makes too many mistakes, you can in fact fight him off easily in this thing. But at the same time, as you can see, we don't really have a Nova Torpedo, and that's because the train cruise disruptor for medium bombers and light bombers alike go in the torpedo slots. It doesn't have a separate CD slot. It means that you sort of have to, forsake that Nova Torpedo for the sake of having a CD. And if you're doing solo piracy, then, you sort of do want to, have a CD. But again, as I already said in the first part, a Nova Torpedo is a pretty good thing if you want to blow off some equipment or thrusters and, more or less neutralize the trader or cause some excessive damage to their equipment, just to piss them off. But, okay. So, again, as I already said, the location and everything I'm going to explain in a separate tutorial. For the sake of this video, I'm going to simply say that we're currently in the California system. It's one jump away from New York, arguably one of the more busiest systems there is in the mod, so obviously the traffic here is quite high. At the same time, it's not always traders that come through here, and it's obviously going to be some hostiles. And the thing about gate piracy is that it has very good pros and very terrible cons. Now, the con is, if you take a look at my channel and search a specific video called the gate bug, it means that, well, in short, if I take out the lane, like this lane, if anyone jumps in from New York, you know, this is the New York jump gate, right? If someone jumps into this system from New York and this lane is out, for that person, this lane is still up, and I won't be able to do anything to stop them from docking with that lane. So, you know, Gate Piracy 101, never take out the first lane, because if someone jumps in, then you won't be able, you physically won't be able to stop him if he decides to take that ring, right? Okay, so that's gonna be it. So what are we gonna do today? What I'm gonna do right now is that I'm going to simulate a encounter with a trader, and I'm going to show you exactly what are we gonna do one by one, because I already said that piracy in by itself is actually very simple, but something that I didn't mention is that piracy in by itself is also very systematic. It means that you will obviously won't ever have two completely identical encounters with, you know, the players, but at the same time you will find yourself doing the same thing over and over. And so this is going to be something else we are going to touch up on, a thing called set messages. But, you know, that's for the later. So, first of all, this video is going to cover a few things. First of all, we're going to pirate for money, then we're going to pirate for cargo, and then we're going to pirate for roleplay demands. I'm going to quickly touch up on every single aspect of that in brief, you know, as brief as possible. Hopefully, I will be able to cut this video down to maybe a half an hour, hopefully. You'll probably already know if you're watching this, but okay, I'll try. I will try. Okay, so the idea here is that when it comes to money, your goal is to make the trader pay. As I already mentioned in the first video, that the reason why a trader would actually bother to pay you, considering this is not EVE Online, if you actually blow the guy up, he won't lose his ship, he's just going to lose his cargo. Basically, you need to make a valid point that paying you is better than like getting killed and undocking from the last base just to spend the whole route again or take a different one. You need to be more or less careful with your demands. And again, about how much you demand from a trader, we're going to cover in a moment. But first of all, there's one thing that I actually need to mention early on, and that is a thing called, well, I would say, I would like to call it target evaluation, if that makes sense. So if you're a pirate, then more often than not, you're probably going to pirate for traders. You don't really want to stop any other ships. But at the same time, you sort of need to be careful. Okay, so I'm gonna just jump my trader ship, which is on my on the PC next to me, into this system. You should see him, and there you go. Okay, so there's a trader, right? That is a trader named Trader. It is a Gull civilian transport. It's hauling Liberty Ale. This guy has a freelancer ID. It's a freelance trader. He has a heavy armor upgrade, which, you know, gives him some very small armor, you know, more or less. And he also has like a thruster, a shield, some guns that you won't really have to worry about. But here's the thing. Piracy 101. When you look at the person that you are going to, like, this is a potential piracy target. It is up to you to figure out whether or not it's worth engaging this guy. As in, worth pirating the guy. We're not talking about killing the trader. We're pirating for money. We want money. So, look at this guy. This is a rank 49 trader, right? So, how much money do you think this guy has, considering he has, like, Liberty Ale, some very cheap armor upgrades, some guns, and at the same time, look at this. I'm rank 63, for example. This is actually a very high rank for a bomber, but that's because I have 36 million credits on me. So, can you look at this trader and say, how much money does this thing have? Well, let's take a look. I'm going to shuffle on to this side and press F9. Guess what? This guy has 500,000 credits. Would you have known it? Probably not. This is one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of people make. For example, if I remove all of my current money, set cash spaz 0, then you will see that my rank, sorry about that, I pressed the wrong button, that my rank drops to 52. This is only, like, what? 3 ranks higher than this guy, right? So obviously, what you're thinking now, okay, so what? This ship cost me about 25 million to make, if not 30. So, you know, this guy must have a few million on him because, you know, he's just a little bit smaller than me when it comes to rank. Well, wrong. I don't know how to properly explain this, but trying to figure out how much the trader has by his rank is a very poor choice. And let's just say that I had my own experiences when I was flying a dinky little ship like this and my rank was about 50, and I had people asking me like 1 million credits or anything when I had like 200,000 or something along those lines. It's very hard to judge how much the player has when it comes to the overall rank, because something like this, like if the trader is large, like if he has a 5k transport, then maybe it's a bit more obvious because, well, he has that transport, so he obviously has some sort of money because he needs about, like, what, 1 million or 2 million to actually fill the damn thing. So maybe then it's a bit more obvious and you can, you know, there's a less of a chance that you'll fuck up. But usually, if you demand an amount of money from a guy which, like, who physically doesn't have that amount, it really feels bad for that guy because he's just gonna say, sorry dude, I don't have the money. So, and at this point it's like, wait, but you're like 3 ranks smaller than me and this ship cost me like 30 million credits. You must be lying, you have money. And you'll probably blow him up because he physically can't, you know, pay you, like, you know, he can't reply to your demand, so you have all the chance to kill him. But again, first things first, Piracy 101, evaluate the target, make sure that it's actually worth pirating. But a bit of a side note here, I know a lot of players, a lot of veteran players who usually pirate a lot, and they look at these newbies and they just let him go because, you know, as I just said, the guy probably doesn't have anything to, you know, pay you with. Like, it's not worth the effort pirating this guy. But make no mistake, there is always a reason to pirate someone. Like, take a look at this guy. He has like 900 units of ale. Ask him for a bottle of ale. Like, the faster you teach new players what piracy is and what to expect from a pirate, the easier it's gonna be for you. Because this guy, at some point, is going to come here with a 5K-er. And then what? If he had no piracy encounters up until then what? He'll have no idea what you want from him. And, well, there you go. Okay, so let's just assume that this guy just jumped into this system. Like, obviously, the gate is currently shooting me, so I'm just gonna take a refuge behind this lane rings. I really highly suggest against doing this because, well, see, the lane just took out the ring, and if someone just jumped into California from New York, then he would be able to, you know, take this ring. I wouldn't be able to make a demand and give him sufficient enough time if I wanted to, you know, stop him. Like, the only way I could stop someone from taking this lane right now would be to kill him, but if the admins check the log, then they would see that I made a demand and just kill the guy like a few seconds later. Thus, I broke the server rules. I didn't give the person enough like reaction time to actually say yes or no, so I will get sanctioned. So, first things first. What you want to do is, first of all, make the player know what is going on. And by doing so, make sure that the player knows you're interacting with him. So in this case, if we were on the actual server, the first thing is we are going to greet this person and specifically use his name. So for example, greetings there, trader. So obviously, if he was using a different name, I would be using a different name. So this is where set messages come in. So So if I type this little command, show messages, sorry, like this, so then you will see that I have 10 slots for preset messages. Now what this does is, for example, set message 1, hello world, right? So what happens now, if I usually type in the local chat, it's going to be like this. If I want to say something a bit more elaborate, I can use set message and just enter /1. That's it. I don't need to use anything else. The only problem is, you can see, if you enter it directly like this, /1, it's going to transmit your message in the system channel, so be very careful. I use set messages quite a lot, especially in Piracy. Well, you'll see why in a moment. But there are moments where I sort of fuck up and I end up making demand over the system channel, and that is a very easy way how to give away your position, and how to get a lot of undesirables chasing you down. So if you want to submit a set message in local, you actually need to make a little L in front of the 1. So hello world. So you might ask, okay, that's all very nice and all, so what is the practical application? Some people have very strange names, and I hate typing out strange names, especially Kasarian names, because there's Washimakushu or something like that. So what we're going to do now is make a set message that says hello there, and the name. Like, you are going to automatically enter the name that that the guy has. So what we're going to do now is going to set message 2, and then we're going to type out the message. Well, hello there, comma. And this is where the fun thing is. There's a couple of commands which you can use only with set messages, and one of them is #T. Now, what happens here is that depending on which player I have currently selected, it is going to put the name of this player where the /T is. So this is going to be actually our first demand. We're going to say, hello there, player name. Why don't you bring those engines to a halt and power down your weapons? So this is going to be our first demand. What we're going to do now, what is going to happen right now? So this guy just entered the system. You scan him, make your decision whether or not it's a good idea to pirate this guy, and just so we don't waste time, we're going to enter a set message in local, by the way, be careful, local, and he's going to see this. Well, hello there, trader. Why don't you bring those engines to a halt and power down your weapons? Now, obviously, this is very generic pirate roleplay. So what I'm doing is I'm making the first demand. The first demand is to cut the engines. This is important because there's a thread that I'm probably going to find later and link in this video description, but one of our players on the community has made a very interesting little chart that shows how long can transports survive under bomber fire, depending on the skill pilot, the skill of the pilot, and so on and so on. But it's a very interesting chart, and it involves armored transports and so on and so on. So what happens now is that this is probably how it's going to look like. This guy has just entered the system, he saw you, he doesn't really think anything about you. You're going to CD him like this and make your first demand. Like, hello there, trader, why don't you bring those engines to a halt and power down the weapons. Now, give him time to read this. Not a lot of people are very good in English, so they'll probably need some time to read the text. But when they do, they will probably stop, because they will see that you are a pirate, you are a bomber. That usually means that they are going to, die a horrible death if they don't stop, so obviously they are going to stop or not. And if they don't stop, then you have all the right to sort of remind them of their little place, right? Oh, this gate really has a very good range. Like, this is one of the reasons why you don't usually pirate with a gunboat next to the gate, because of these pulse cannons. They really do hurt. So in our case, or at least the one I'm currently fabricating, the trader PC is right next to me, so I can actually move around as I wish. So this guy actually stopped. So at this point, this player is probably going to roleplay with you. Hey, hello, pirate. What do you want from me? Blah blah blah. Second thing, if they don't know what is going on, if they answer, if it's a new player maybe or an inexperienced player, they might answer you with something like along the lines of this, like he has no idea what is going on. And first of all, greet the player, make sure that he knows that you're talking to him, and secondly, make sure he knows what is going on. So in this case, we're going to say, this is a robbery. Robbery! No, this is a robbery. Power down your weapons or be destroyed. Obviously this isn't a demand because, there's no physical way he can power down his weapons. But, you need to make the player understand that this is a robbery, that he is being pirated, and if he doesn't comply to your orders, then he is going to be killed as per several rules. So what happens now? Two things can happen. Well, first of all, he can say something along the lines of like I mistyped that, but all right, sir. So obviously, he is going to be a good little trader. He knows he can't run away, or otherwise he's going to lose his cargo. And at this point, we can see he doesn't really have that much money anyway. So now it's time to make your demand. So again, when it comes to money piracy, you sort of need to keep something clear. The objective of your pirate encounter is to get money, right? But many players actually confuse this with getting a lot of money, right? No matter what the target is, they instantly ask for a very large amount of credits, which at many times the target isn't even physically able to pay you. So that can actually be viewed as PvP abuse, like demanding absurd amounts of money from players who physically cannot pay you that amount, and you're gonna get into trouble. Also, holy shit, the range on this gate. Seriously, this is it's hard to try to talk while dodging fire like this. So, pull trader, get over here. The wonders of being an admin. Now I can sort of move out of the range of the freaking gate. Okay, so that's the thing. There we go. Now I can focus on the thing. So, alright, so you made... First of all, again, what happens? A trader jumps in, or jumps out of the lane. First of all, target evaluation. You need to make sure that you know that this guy's worth pirating. If he is, you are going to address him by the name, make sure that he knows that he's being talked to by you. And then, when you stop him with a CD, you're also going to make sure that he knows what is going on. He has to know that this is a piracy attempt, right? Depending on what he wants and what he does, he might either pay you, tell you to fuck off, not in that direct sort of way, or just say that, no, you're not going to get my money, and open fire on you. Anyway, the thing about piracy is that, especially when it comes to credit piracy, is that you must understand that every single trader who pays is still profit. This guy is 49, and as I already said, he has only 500,000 credits on him, so even that small amount of credits is still profit. For example, if you kill this guy right now for not paying you, say, 1,000,000 credit, well, first of all, you're gonna be a dick, because, he doesn't even have that much, and secondly, you gain nothing. You gain nothing but a blue message. And that's it. Some people actually do pirate for the blue messages, but we don't really like these sort of people because A lot of people already say the piracy is a very one-sided encounter, and we don't really need to tell them that, we don't need to acknowledge, well, sort of prove that. We don't need to prove that they're right. So trying to figure out how much you need to ask for a trader is actually something that you will learn in time. So the only way I can actually explain this is that in order to know how much to ask a trader, you actually have to go through this phase. You can't just jump into a pirate character. You actually have to be a pretty decent trader. You have to be a pretty decent miner, so you actually know where to go, what cargo is being used where. So, I mean, if I was a good trader and I was trading constantly between Liberty and Britonia, I would probably know how much this sells for. I can't tell from here, but then I would know how much to ask. And here's the thing. Here's a funny little thing. Sorry, microphone? Okay. Is there already something I mentioned at the start of this video, like the reason why I'm sitting here? The reason why people pay is that usually they think that paying you is better than having to start over, like from the first base, the last base they started off. Like, if you get killed, you get moved back to the last base you docked, right? So here's the idea. This guy is coming from New York, and I know for a fact that Liberty Ale is actually sold on Manhattan. The chances that he is actually going to pay are very slim, because he knows that if I do kill him, he only traveled, 3 lanes? Like, there is absolutely no reason for me to outright ask a specified sum. For me, one of my most favorite demands in this case is to go something along the lines of, that is some nice cargo you have there, son. How much will you pay me not to make you drop it? Or something along those variations. Like, I'm giving this guy a reasonable chance to propose me amount of credits that he would pay me not to lose his cargo. So the idea here is that if I ask for more, he's probably going to just either attack me or just give up. He's not going to even bother trying to pay me, because he knows that the amount of time he has spent and the amount of money is just not worth the whatever fixed amount I would otherwise ask. So in this case, we're actually giving the target a chance to continue on this trade route, to which he's actually at the very beginning of, right? And choose his own money. Now, he could pay me even only 100,000 credits, but even then, that is profit. And I scored some profit from the guy, and considering I didn't ask ludicrous amounts of credits from him, and just have a reason, have an excuse, so to speak, to blow him up, he's probably going to pay me in the future because he knows that I'm, a reasonable pirate. And that's one of the things you need to understand. If you want to be a good pirate, as in successful and make some money out of piracy, I already mentioned that piracy is nowhere near trading or mining when it comes to actually acquiring credits. But if you want to try and be a very successful pirate, then this is probably one of the ways to do it. The more freedom you are going to give the player to choose the amount of money you're going to receive, well, first of all, he's going to probably pay. It might not be much, but it's still profit. So that's the bottom line. So that's what happens. Now, obviously, not every trader is going to pay. Actually, a lot of players love to do something along the lines of, they might not even answer to you. Like, you are going to hold them and just see this. Let's do that again. Why don't you bring your engines to a halt? And this guy's just going to travel in a straight line. Like, if you know that he's there, he might even start thrusting like this. Or maybe he's going to start cruising again. So you know that this guy knows what is going on, but he's still choosing to try and flee. At this point, I highly suggest you make a demand anyway. We're going to ask him to drop his cargo, and then we're going to see what is going on. Like, what is he going to do about it, about this demand? No, he's still cruising. So, yes, we do have traders like that. These players don't pay the pirate out of principle, no matter how good the offer is, like how reasonable your demand is. These players are never going to pay you, and that's just something you need to understand. At this point, you have made your demand. It's obvious that the player had more than enough time to respond to your actions, and now we're going to blow him up. So obviously, I don't even need to do... I don't even need to, you know, use a supernova on him. I'm just gonna... Actually, no, I want to use a Hellfire rocket pawn. Pew 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 pew. Oh, these are slow. Yeah, there we go. And there you go. You didn't get money, but you did get a blue message. And so, that is pretty much the essence of piracy, for credits anyway. The goal of piracy for credits is make sure that the player pays. It might not be a lot, but still, at the same time, you do get some sort of credits. Right? So that's the idea here. Okay, so what did we learn? First of all, target evaluation. Make sure that the guy is actually worth pirating, and at that point start to figure out how much exactly are you going to ask for him. Then, secondly, make sure that he knows that you're talking to him. Greet him. Use his name. Make sure that he sees that you're talking to him. Thirdly, pin him down. Tell him that this is a make him understand that this is a piracy attempt, and tell him to make your demand. In this case, money. And then, depending on whether or not he pays you or not, just let him go. Well, if he pays you, let him go. If he doesn't pay, well, you have all the right to just smash the poor guy's face in. Okay, so enough sitting on an empty server. We just saw the, the step-by-step how to do this for money. Might as well just, try it on the live server then.